Hi, it's Mimi / Marjorie, and I'm sitting backstage at the Theater Center in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I'm about to do a one-night reading of love letters with Bob Bernhardt, who is the local conductor of the symphony, for my little brother as a fundraiser for the theater. So, what I wanted to know, and Kathy, my assistant, is taking this, and we have gotten all your questions together so far. So I'm going to answer some of them on screen because we thought that would be the best. Okay. Kim Myers, I first saw you in Mr. Boogedy. You were and still are very comedic. Thank you. What roles do you like doing best, funny or drama? Well, I really like funny because you get an absolutely instant response from the audience telling you you're going over. I never get far from comedy, but I'm about to go out on stage and do a dramatic play that kind of doesn't leave a dry eye in the house, and I love that too. So I guess it's a 50-50. Tracy Main Clark, on television you've played so many unique and funny characters in several successful sitcoms. Do you have a favorite? I liked a lot of them. Abby was pretty great on Dharma and Greg. I played Stalker Channing's sister, and I was all about Long Island Lockjaw. That was really funny to do. Her name was Victoria. That was 1979, the Paleolithic age. And I really love Marjorie because she tells the truth. Robin Bevel Hartman, hello pretty lady, thank you. What actor or actress inspired you when you were first starting? Lily Tomlin, Seda Thompson, and Ruth Draper, who did my husband's kibitzing. See, all hell is breaking loose. Ruth Draper, look her up, Google her. When was the moment you had that moment realizing you had made it or reached your goal? When I got my first equity job opposite Sid Caesar. I'll never forget that phone call. The answer is yes, from the secretary of the agent that had sent me up for the role. That was fantastic. Susan L. Jones, one more. You are such a fantastic character actress. Have you found that you have been cast in older roles despite your actual age? Absolutely. In fact, in high school, I wanted to play Jo in Little Women, the starring role, and I got cast as Aunt March by the nun, and she said, "I'm sorry, Mimi, it's not my fault, you just have a mature face." And I was so mad. And then the girl that got cast as Jo failed math, and I got the role. And I tried not to be happy that she had failed math, but I was really glad I got the role. So much for the mature face. Joel O'Brien, what is your favorite Dharma and Greg episode? Definitely the one where I did the dance, the beatnik dance, the conception of Dharma with my husband Larry, playing the drums. That was pretty funny. And I got to improvise the whole thing, the dance. Debbie Nelson, who was your favorite person to work with? Oh, wow. You know what? I just got to say James Gandolfini. We worked in a show called In the Loop together, and he made me feel like we were both in 5th grade at the back of the classroom and telling jokes and making the nun crazy. It's just how I felt. He was a wonderful actor and a really playful guy. Sorry, we lost him too soon, and I still grieve that. Aluni Boshoff. Hi, Aluni. Did you ever get to meet Tammy Grimes again in later years when you yourself were a successful actress? I got to meet her when I wasn't successful, but I was asked to do a play reading by 2 amateur playwrights who lived in the village, and it was a woman very right for me, possessed by crazy nuns in a convent that was dilapidated somewhere in Europe. It was supposed to be a horror play. And she actually was one of the few there to see it because these guys were friends of hers, and she was being solicited to be an angel to support it. And nobody gave money for this play to be produced, but besides Tammy Grimes, who said she didn't remember meeting me, God bless her, but I was just like, oh my God, Miss Grimes. There was also the producers of Grease, the musical, the 50s musical, and they asked me if I could sing and dance, and I said yes, and I got a role in Grease. Okay. Brenda Martin Shoup, you've posted that the mom cast are like one big family, and it shows. Yeah, all members of the cast seem very professional. They are, one's getting an Oscar probably in a few weeks. Talented and kind, so it is not a surprise you all get along. Has this been the case in all the programs you've been part of? No. How did you get cast on, Mom? Well, actually my manager called me up and he went, we've just gotten a call from somebody and they're reading all these people for a role on Chuck Lorre's new show, Mom, and they know you, but they said of all the people that have read this role, we know Mimi Kennedy can read this role better than anybody we've seen, so could she do it? And it was guest star one week, and I went, yeah, I'm free Monday. So then I went, and there was the role of Marjorie. The rest is history. Chuck Lorre told me later, we didn't plan this. We just kind of stumbled into it. Michael Busan, my neighbor. Hi, Michael. You always remain positive despite your keen ability to cite injustice. He knows this about me. Social immorality, mediocrity, and or just plain bad behavior. What person and or situation from your career tested your resolve to remain positive in the face of boorish or despicable behavior? I had a Me Too moment, and I describe it in my book, and I was very young, and it was New York City, and they saw me coming like a lamb to the slaughter, and I thought I was just having a meaningful, if somewhat icky relationship that was May, December, with an older man who had just fallen in love with me. No, he was preying on me. He'd seen me coming. I knew nothing. It lasted for a while, but I was lying to myself the whole time, and it was horrible. And now I know what it was, but that was 30, 40 years ago. And I'm glad people see it coming now, and they just go, no. Dottie Coughlin, who was your favorite co-star and why? Well, I have to say my favorite co-stars now are the Watermelon Gang on Mom. Allison and Anna are amazing. And I've had some wonderful other people to work with, as I said in the movies, James Gandolfini. I just want to know anything and everything about you. Okay, well, we'll see. Who were your favorites? What was the one role you enjoyed to play the most? Do you miss the old days or enjoy the new roles just as much? Loved you on Dharma and Greg, but Mom is one of the best shows. Joni Prince. Joni, I do love Mom. Of course, everybody misses the old days. That's your youth, my youth, but it's all on television, so I can just dial it in or see it on the internet. I just feel I have to keep going. I have a really deep faith that life is full of surprises, and forward is the way to go. And the one role I enjoyed to play, I have to say, I did love being on In the Loop. I played the Assistant Secretary of State trying to stop a war. That was my style. That was a movie. Terry Parker, I'd like to know, what is your Me Too story? How do you handle it? Whether it's about you or someone else, what else have you seen? Thanks. In this book, it's the New York agent. He went unnamed in the book. He is now dead. So I'm not going to speak ill of the dead, but he knows who he is. And as I say, there was an element, I'm sorry to say, for me, of collusion. I didn't know better than to mix trying to, sell my personal attractiveness with whatever my talents were. Big mistake. It's one that many people made. And it's called The Casting Couch. And I'm really glad time's up. Deanne Costley, hello Mimi. What is a role you would love to play? Mary Tyrone in Long Day's Journey into Night, and I'm sitting backstage at a theater, and I'm really getting the vibe, and that's going to happen in the next 3 years somewhere. Hi, Tracy. I really like your name, so I recognize it. This is another question. Hi, Mimi. How did you prepare, and what research did you do for the role of Marjorie? Well, I remind myself of a couple of my aunts, so I just sort of get into their heads and remember my memories of them, but I needed to find out about the 12 steps, and so I went to a 12-step meeting for which I felt I qualified. I think I'm supposed to keep it anonymous so I don't say which one, but I've learned about the 12 steps, and that has changed my life, and that's how I prepare for Marjorie. Susan L. Jones, do you gals actually eat during all those diner scenes in Mom? Yeah, we do. And for a while they were feeding us, just asking if we wanted. Finally we went, it was when Allison had to eat steak. And I went, just carve a watermelon and pretend it's a steak. And from then on, we eat watermelon put in bites for all of our rehearsals. And that's how we became known as the Watermelon Players. We sing, we dance, the Watermelon Repertory Company, but we are the Watermelon Players because of that. We eat watermelon until the night, and then when we're filming, we have to actually eat. And we do actually eat. We all do, and sometimes get into trouble and choke and get stuff in our mouths and make each other laugh. Sarah Carmichael Sample. Hi, Mimi. Hi. On Mom, what scene sticks out as the most memorable while filming? Well, there was a scene where Allison's character, Bonnie, came over to my house with the 9 cats, and I was watching my favorite guilty pleasure, which was man-on-man porn. And she sat down and went, "What are you watching?" And there was some really funny dialogue, and they kept writing new lines, and we got laughing so hard that we could barely go on. And we both remember that as pretty funny. As our hometown pride of Rochester, thank you, Lisa Christine. What was your biggest inspiration growing up and playing a part in your career decision? I'd have to really say my mother. She acted at the Community Players, and I went to see my mother on stage many times in her plays, and that's a pretty powerful impact on a child. What or who inspired you to become an actress? Tammy Grimes, that's another thing in my book. Tammy Grimes and the Unsinkable Molly Brown, among others. My mother. Susan, Jones, I have another one. When you were on Stockard Channing and Friends, did you and Stockard Channing ever talk Grease? She hadn't been in Grease yet. The movie of Grease was 10 years away when we were on Stockard's TV show. Okay. Deb Pappas, your favorite role you played was? It's really hard. The movies, again, In the Loop, I love that. On TV for drama, Ruth Sloane. In Homefront and comedy, I am loving Marjorie right now, I gotta say. Linda Seahorn Weathers, at what age did you know you wanted to be an actress? Oh, you are so good in every part you play. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. I knew I wanted to be an actress from about age 4. I mean, it was constant. I never wanted to be anything else. A social worker. I did want to be a social worker, and I thought I could combine the careers for a while, but I can, as a avocation, do a lot of helping people. Hannah Knowles, what's your all-time best theater play? Which one would you like to perform in? The best one that I've ever been in, I just loved Grease. I loved Grease. Dancing rock and roll every night, singing it was the best. And I would like to perform in Long Day's Journey into Night by Eugene O'Neill. I did do a reading of it once, and a man came up to me, a very elderly man, and said, "I've seen them all, including the original, Ruth Nelson. You were the best I've ever seen."